G'day guys, it's Jeff here from BikeReview.com.au. Having a fantastic autumn day out on my second day on the SV650X. I just got asked a question by a punter who was talking to me while I was doing the video. Why is it called an X? And I just said I don't know, because X should be off-road. So I think it's the SV650 Cafe Racer. I'm not sure why it's the X, but it is. And it's an awesome little bike. Just quickly, when it came out last year, I didn't have the opportunity to ride it. Most of the press rode it around June or July. I thought it looked pretty terrible in most of the photos. The press shots from Suzuki made it look ugly. And overall, I just wasn't impressed when I first saw it. And also on paper, I wasn't really, I was quite just underwhelmed. It was just the same old 20-year-old SV650. But now that we've got one in the flesh, I can definitely see what the fuss is all about. Chris has been able to take photos of it that actually make it look really good, what it is. When you see it in the flesh, when you see it in real life, the paint, the lines, the shape of it, it's a really nice looking motorcycle. And it's fabulous to ride. It's really engaging, great fun. And I completely changed my whole attitude towards this bike. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite bikes I've ridden in the last 12 months. And again, like I have said with other bikes, it's just a basic motorcycle, but it really makes me smile. And as things get more and more technical, more and more powerful, more and more hard to understand in the motorcycling world, these basic motorcycles, just throttle, brakes, clutch, gear shift, no electronics except for ABS, they're very appealing because, you know, it's back on the rider, back to the rider, and low power, high corner speeds and lots of fun. So I've ridden this bike in all conditions. I've ridden it in the rain, it's a very low front hand sort of riding position. The clip-ons are quite low. The pegs are high, not like a sports bike, but you do have that hunched over seating position, but it's still comfortable. I'm 187 centimeters tall and I fit in the triangle really well. And what they've really done well is the positioning of these handlebars kind of feels like a GSX-R 600 or 750. It gives you that confidence, that like you're holding the forks feeling. And the tyres are brilliant. They're the Dunlop Road Smart 3s, which I've never ridden on before. So like I said, it's like you're holding the forks on this thing and you can just grab it and put it wherever you want to go. Bit of brake to get the front down or up or whatever you want to do. Super confidence inspiring in the wet, in the dry. Really impressed with that. The suspension is super basic, hardly adjustable at all, but the valving and the spring rates and everything's really good on it. I'm blown away actually by how good it is for a basic suspension setup. I haven't touched anything on it. It's good over the bumps, it's comfortable, it's compliant, it settles really quickly after you hit bumps. But then on the smooth stuff, when you start to push harder, I mean, even scraping the pegs and everything, it doesn't wallow, it doesn't wobble, it's unreal. It's got a fairly steep steering angle and you'd think it would need a steering damper, which I did at the very beginning, but now the bumps I've hit at the speeds I've hit them with no problems at all, definitely doesn't need a steering damper. The clutch is really nice, light action. I don't know if it's got a slipper clutch or not, but I give it a big rev on the downshifts anyway, and the gearbox is probably one of the sweetest gearboxes on a production motorcycle, you know, there is, but they're legendary, the gearboxes in these, really nice. The clutch is smooth on take up as well, a little tiny bit of grabbiness if you try and give it too many revs. It's got a beautiful smooth power delivery. It's peaky, it hasn't got low down or mid-range punch. You snap the throttle open, it's not going to do a wheel stand or anything. A lot of that's the super duper tall gearing, which is just over 5,000 RPM at 115. You could really put a few more teeth on the back sprocket on this to make it more fun. So the gearbox is smooth, engine power delivery is silky smooth, and then when you get up into the top end, that 650cc V-twin really starts to go hard. It's about 75 horsepower, and it's a rev happy little thing. It just loves to be revved and revved and revved and revved. Which I can see, if that was restricted on the Lambs version, the old Lambs version, I can see why it was so slow, because it doesn't really make its power till the higher RPM. It's got enough torque on tap for passing and pulling a big 100 kilo person in gear like me along, no problem. Or even if you had a pillion, like it, but it has got that tall gearing. Now that tall gearing is super sweet though on the open road and on the freeway, so you could put miles and miles and miles onto this thing. It's just the seat that would probably stop you. We did a fairly big ride this morning, and by the end of it, the reason I got off was for my butt, because I was so sore. Obviously that seat's been scalloped right down to give that 790mm seat height, and also that cafe racer styling. So it feels awesome when you're riding in a sporty situation. And even on the freeway, because it keeps you low down, you don't get much wind buffeting or anything, but obviously over hours, it's kind of like concrete. It's got that katana-y look, light grey bit on the back here, and it's a cool looking bike. It just needs a pipe, and it needs all the tidy up around here, some nice carbon fibre covers over here or something to hide that. I don't know why the hose clamps and all those fasteners, they should be black, because they stand out like dog's balls. You know, it's got all the ABS and brake lines. It's kind of not fully finished. But I mean, for just over 10 grand on the road, you would spend a bit of money on it, customising it yourself. So it'll be a really good platform to customise and hide a bit of that ugly stuff. It's got the cafe racer style mirrors, which are not bad. You need to look under your armpits, and you do tend to bump them a lot because of where they are, and they come loose. So I've been carrying a 14mm spanner with me and tightening them up a fair bit. So a bit of Loctite there or something might help. It's got a really easy to read basic dash that looks quite modern, and it's got everything you need, hardly anything, but it's got everything you need on there. Easy to read, all the switchgear standard old school Suzuki stuff. Pegs are good. It's just a really good bike. Now the one gripe and downside of the bike is the front brakes. So it's been addressed for the next model, the 2019 model. This is an 18. And it's only got the 2-piston sliding calipers and a really old school master cylinder, which is the same as the master cylinder on my RG500, which is a 1985 model. And these calipers are extremely old fashioned. And I guess with all the extra hose and for the ABS side of things, the power's just not there. So it's got the initial bite, and it's got reasonable feel. So really good in wet weather or around town or damp conditions or stuff like that. But as soon as you ride it at the limit or on a sports bike sort of level, you just run out of brakes. So it'll be interesting to see what the next model's like with the 4-piston calipers. Personally, I reckon this one with braided lines and sportier brake pads in it, that'd probably just solve the problem. So it doesn't necessarily need the 4-piston calipers, because I know how strong these calipers can be. Price is right, the paint's good as long as it's in the right light, and look, overall I think it's a really good little bike. It's full power, don't forget you need a full license to buy this. So that 650 market, there's not a lot of bikes that you need a full license to ride in there. So it's going to be a niche within a niche sort of person interested in this motorcycle. When you look at all the other 650s, are pretty much all learner legal, but none of them have 75 horsepower. So yeah, if you're after a lightweight commuter that you can have a bit of fun on the weekend, that's a little bit stylish, for around the 10 grand mark, this is an excellent option, and especially because it's a V-twin and most of them are parallel twins. You know, to get that nice V-twin, a lot cheaper than some of the European ones, and a lot more spec and a lot more power, like, frankly. You really can't go wrong. So go and jump on one at your Suzuki dealer and see what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a really good day. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Take it easy. Bye.